What's up, everyone? Shit Just Works back again with some more tournament action. This time, this past weekend, doing the RCO tournament alongside Boulevard. And the RCO tournament, if you guys don't know, is a Discord server that some of the best players in the game have been invited to. And this tournament is strictly for that server. So thereby getting basically the best players in the game to compete here in the tournament. So always good stuff. Starting off here with, for the top 8, Realkey and the Chad, also known as Gavone, in the quarterfinals here, going head-to-head. Chad with Tom Rocca, Twiz, and interestingly enough, Zoaphelios, which was pretty common in the tournament, but with 3 Plaza Guardian teched in there. And you do, yes, you do get to see the Plaza Guardians play in one of these games at least. And on the side of Realkey, we have Twiz, also Zoaphelios, not as crazy with the Plaza Guardian there, and also Frostbite Foundry, which we were seeing a lot in the tournament. So, as always, in the description below, you can find some information on the tournament to the Battle 5 page. You can find the deck lists, you can find the player information, and as always, all of Boulevard's information, as he is by my side yet again for this tournament. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the first of the top cut games here, the quarterfinals, Realkey versus Chad. Able to split them up, run 2 different decks, still run kind of that, Fangs to invoke things, get different Celestial cards, and still run Aphelios in a different deck alongside Twisted Fate. So should be pretty interesting here. We have seen this Teemo deck pretty much all throughout the day, as well as Twiz. I guess my fingers are crossed once again that we can see Chad take home a victory with Plaza Guardian. That would make my day.
Well, you might get your wish here, and the players are getting in the game, so we'll see what was queued up for game number 1 here in the top 8 of RCO Invitational 1.5 North America Shard, and it is going to be the Twisted Fate Fizz on the side of Chad up against the not Tom Rocca for Realkey. This is the Aphelios Zoe. Seen so much Tom Rocca today, I'm starting to just blend it together when I see the Bilgewater Targon combo.
Yeah. We made that mistake with Deep for quite some time, right? So now it's just going to be this.
Which is wild. We hadn't even seen Deep for like 3 months or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Deep's still kind of off the map right now. I think there was a couple people that were playing it, but not doing quite that great. But we're going to get the Duskbringer down here to get started. Going to get that Dusk Petal Dusk, which honestly is super good here. I mean, if we're able to carry over that 2 spell mana, which it does look like we are basically forced into doing, we're going to be able to get Aphelios down with the Nightfall trigger this turn if we want. And a second Aphelios drawn is pretty awesome. Aphelios' champion spell too is actually really useful, I found. I mean, the ability to basically have a choice of 1 in 5 cards to use in any situation that you need at burst speed feels really impactful 9 times out of 10.
Gonna see oh man, this is not a great hand for Chad, but I mean, we do still have the stress testing, alongside the Poro Cannon, can rummage away a few of those cards. Like I said, Twisted Fate Fizz is just like the most consistent deck in Legends of Runeterra, and it's one where its bad hands are solved very easily. You just pick a card, or you fire off that rummage, you've basically got an entirely new hand, and you can start to play the game that way. But Realkey, here's the question. Can we afford to get down Veiled Temple? Because if it's going to happen, it's got to be this turn, and with the attack token, it feels so safe.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably one of the better turns to get it down. I will say, there is consideration to be made that you get it down on a turn where you can also play 3 cards, and I do think that is the consideration, or 2 cards I should say, that Realkey is making. So we might see it next turn. For now, we're going to get the Solari Priestess Invoke. 3 pretty solid options here. I mean, do we ever want to go for the Traveler, just get those late game units?
Looks like the answer is no. I mean, the Traveler's effectiveness does feel a lot lower when you can't use it as a chump blocker. So instead we are going to go for the Falling Comet, which I am trying to think of what we can even aim that at. I mean, throwing it at a 0-mana Burblefish just feels terrible.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's kind of my consideration here. I mean, there's not a lot of high impact units to Falling Comet, so I mean, I guess Twisted Fate if you're that concerned about Twisted Fate coming down, but even that feels bad. I mean, it feels good because it's Twisted Fate that you're killing, but I mean, it's not the best mana wise. Like, just feels bad.
No, and one of the things that we've seen players run into as well is sometimes you just try to hold open the mana to kill the Twisted Fate. The Twisted Fate never comes, and then you die to other things. But we are going to get, the reason that you play Bilgewater here, the Crescendum into Boxtopus, unless Realkey whiffs the Boxtopus and hits Goat.
Is Realkey playing Goat? I don't think he's playing that in this version.
He's not playing Goat. He's only playing Boxtopus. We've seen so many Aphelios decks that play Goat and Boxtopus that I couldn't remember, but yeah, just streamlining that and making sure that we can get that Boxtopus down, so going to have that clean kill onto the Fizz, but there is the suit up in hand.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why we've started seeing Aphelios pop up in decks like this is to deal with these Twisted Fate Fizz decks. That was honestly a pretty good trade for Chad, but we're going to start just getting more and more card advantage generated out of Aphelios here. We already have the Calibrum in hand to deal with something like this Ballistic Bot, which is pretty big for Realkey, to be honest with you. So I'm really liking Realkey's spot for now, but I mean, again, this deck on the side of Chad, there's so many draw cards. We already see a pick a card, 2 rummage in hand. We could easily just suddenly blow out this game with a huge wide field of elusives that Realkey is going to have a little bit of trouble dealing with right away.
It kind of depends on how many stars are in Chad's eyes right now. Are we going to try to sort of preemptively go off this turn, or are we going to go for a pick a card? I mean, we could pick a card and throw down the Burblefish. But the board of Chad does not seem long for this world. As you had mentioned, we already got the Calibrum train going on the side of that Aphelios. We could even get into the Severum next turn in that case and regain a lot of the lost life from this turn. We have the Hush. We have an elusive blocker. Fizz might end up falling here. Things honestly not looking too bad for Realkey. Yeah,
I gotta say, this pick a card getting drawn too from Chad this turn. Just feel now there's almost too much draw. We are gonna see the pick a card on the suit up. That is one of the usual choices there. This is also gonna level up the Fizz, but now Fizz a little bit vulnerable here. I don't think actually with 3 mana there would be a way outside of Hush, which it would die to Hush anyways, to deal with this Fizz. So feeling decently safe for the time being. But Calibrum, yeah. Wait, hold on. Back up, though. I was going to ask this. Boulevard. Is it Calibrum or Calibrum?
I say Calibrum. I'm trying to think of a word in the English language where you would pronounce that sort of lettering sequence as Cali.
Calibrum?
Because you say California, not California, but when you abbreviate it down to C-A-L-I, it's Cali.
Well, I say California, so Calibrum.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Calibrum.
So and then Calibrum. Cali.
I don't think there's any word where you get the L-I and it's Cali, and it's like there's more to the word than that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have figured out it is Calibrum.
Because do you say cauliflower or cauliflower?
Cauliflower.
Yeah, nobody says cauli. I mean, I do hear people say cauliflower, but
yeah. Oh, see, there we go. Calisthenics. 5-0 Kaka in chat with the big words. Oh, look at that grammar lesson. Let's go.
Yeah, and you don't say calisthenics, you say calisthenics.
Oh, you know what? I think Mezume is right too. Doesn't it say it if you listen to the audio?
I don't have audio on when I'm screen sharing with you.
I haven't listened to a lot of the voice lines that his sister says when that stuff's cast.
I want to say she actually says Calibrum, but she's extra, so.
oh, she's extra, so she doesn't count. All right, I see.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me rephrase that. She's got that thick Lunari accent.
Oh, is that what? So now we're blaming it on the Lunari accent, is why she says it that way?
Yeah, I'm blaming it on her fictional accent. She's stuck in the celestial realm anyway. She don't know what she's talking about. She's saying words all funny.
Count. All right, got it. All right, so we are in the meantime gonna get a decent attack. Yeah, this would trade the Aphelios, which I mean, I think we do. Isn't that champion spell and Aphelios in hand? So I mean, we do have another Aphelios that we could play if we wanted to, but I don't know. I mean, do you like trading this Aphelios for the Ballistic Bot? Ew. I don't like that at all.
I mean, you need to kill the ballistic bot, right? I think that was what Chad was kind of offering up and saying, hey, you know, you don't have Pale Cascade mana. Either you have to trade this or you don't. And I mean, honestly, what were you going to do with the gift from
Ooh,
Beyonds? And actually, Realkey just going to top deck another Aphelios
wow.
immediately. But I do think it was right to block the ballistic bot with that unit there.
I don't know. I mean, we could have thrown the Solari Priestess or the Duskbringer under it, I guess. But no, I mean, we traded the Aphelios, so at least we get rid of it. So there's that. Less cards to utilize for Rummage, so that is something to take into consideration there, as we do see that there are 2 Rummage and a pick a card in the hand of Chad, which does really bog down the hand not having that Ballistic Bot Ignition coming to hand this turn. So maybe it was the right decision. And again, we already had that first Aphelios. We top decked another one, so I gotta think Realkey's still feeling really good. And let's see, do we get the Falling Comet onto the Twisted Fate? Was this why we picked the Falling Comet so much earlier in the game? The answer is
and the answer is no.
So that's a no.
And that means that if Chad wants to, can pick a card and then do some amount of rummaging next turn and guarantee pick it up. But we do get the Crescendum back, and that means that we are going to have the Boxtopus.
Yeah, and I think that, see, and this is the thing with TF nowadays, right? So if we go ahead and let's see what Twisted Fate's at. It's at 1 out of 8. So it's going to be at 2 on the draw. So
what did you think it was going to be?
I don't know why I thought another draw might have happened for some reason. So the thing is that, like, we didn't get the Fallen Comet, and there's really no other ways to remove it. Oh, actually, the Boxtopus now. Okay, never mind. So that's actually going to feel real good for Realkey. I was going to say, if we couldn't remove it this turn, the 2 Rummage is basically probably going to get us there at this point, and not to mention the Pool Shark. So it's actually really important that Realkey was able to get rid of it this turn.
Yeah, but what that does mean for Realkey is that this 5/2 Fizz is going to be left around to go in at face next turn. Does still have the Hush, though, so probably not too worried about it. What it's going to come down to is how many Burblefish or Burblefish-like effects did we pick up off this pick-a-card? And, you know, being able to save that Falling Comet for a Twisted Fate that might come down on this turn, gotta feel great for Realkey.
Yeah, I think he's feeling even greater, because that 5/2 Fizz you mentioned, I don't think we are worried about it, because we got not just one, but another top-decked Hush off the top. So, I mean, man, Hush, being burst spell, it doesn't get affected by Fizz's effect of being able to negate targeting spells, and it's just so big versus these elusive units. I mean, Hush might have been nerfed, but it's still as impactful as ever, especially in this matchup. So if we do go in with the Fizz here, Chad going to be walking into a dead fish on field. We'll see what we get with the blue card. Another Get Excited. Oh, that's a really bad bunch of fleeting cards.
Yeah, and the Get Excited is fleeting because that was what was shuffled back with the pick a card to try and protect it by putting it back in the deck, but instead just drawing it again. And I think that Iterative Improvement is the highest priority card in Chad's hand as far as the fleeting ones are concerned. And unfortunately, not finding stress testing off of the Burblefish to, you know, try and actually play that card for its ability and take all the fleeting away from our burn spells.
Yeah, we'll see what Realkey decides to do here. I mean, we have 6 mana compared to 3 on the side of Chad, and that is a big advantage here. You know, it's interesting how often I actually see cards get shuffled in with pick a card and redrawn. Like, I feel like it happens a lot more often than you think, and I guess that's just a testament to how often this deck actually draws and how well it draws. I mean, this is why this deck is so good. It can literally level Twisted Fate in 1 turn.
So now we're going to get the Gravitum and get the Crescendum for our last Boxtopus in deck. Going to feel a little awkward for Realkey if he draws it here, but I don't think he's going to be too worried about it. And this might be his best bet, actually, to get down the Veiled Temple, though I'm not sure how concerned he is with really ever getting that card down. Might just be one of those cards that sits in our hands forever, which is fine. This isn't really the kind of matchup where you're looking for it, but this 1 mana spell could be a big difference maker, but it's Ye Be Warned is actually, you know, it's actually pretty bad. It's actually not great, mostly because we're in a position where we can kind of afford to take the damage from the Fizz, but, I mean, we'd either be sacrificing the Fizz or the Burblefish to push damage onto the Aphelios, and I don't think we can really afford to do either. So yeah, the EV Warren not going to be played. Instead, Rummage just going to go out onto these 2 other spells, and this is where the Hush comes in. Luckily, we're going to have to lose either the Boxtopus or just push damage onto the Aphelios. I don't think Realkey's going to be too upset about the damage pushed onto the Aphelios, though.
Yeah, Yi Warren, honestly, I gotta say, might not be great in this position, but when it comes out of Burblefish, it usually does provide. It proves to be a pretty big impact 9 times out of 10, especially getting that additional draw in a deck that obviously we know drawing more here is usually a good thing. So, what I'm more curious about though, if this Fizz lives, which it doesn't look like it will, I was gonna say maybe Playful Trickster comes into play here, and I absolutely love seeing lethals with this deck with Playful Trickster. I think it's such a, again, champion spells, not usually what people play around. It's such an interesting card when it does see play. But unfortunately, we'll be turning back into a Fizz this turn. It's like it's just like Riptide. Like we always have talked about Riptide in the past where you literally never play the card. It's only good when Nautilus is on the field. That's exactly how Playful Trickster feels.
I just kind of assumed we meant Riptide Rex. I forgot that Riptide.
That's a card, Boulevard.
For a second, I lived in a euphoric world where I was allowed to play deep, and I could remember, Nautilus's Riptide. But no, I was dragged back to reality very quickly and thought we could only be talking about the Tri-Beam Improbulator low roll Riptide Rex, who certainly serves no other purpose in Legends of Runeterra.
Nope. At least not right now, anyways. All right, and I gotta say, I mean, I really do think, and it definitely feels like Realkey very much still in control here. I want to revisit one thing though, and not to beat a dead horse or anything, but
yeah,
what in the heck were we thinking when we picked Fallen Comet?
Twisted Fate?
I guess that's what we thought before, but we keep not. Yeah, it's not a thing.
So the wild part is this is still a very winnable game for Chad. All they really need to do is find Mind Meld. And I know that it's only a one-of, but when we're constantly cycling through half our deck, the chances of us finding it are pretty decent. I think that the Falling Comet, as you had mentioned earlier, was just kind of like an oh shit worst-case scenario for the Twisted Fate, but instead Realkey has been able to keep up a consistent stream of Boxtopuses. And this might actually be Hush number 2 coming out onto the TF here. Yeah, that makes sense, but it does mean that we don't have anything left for all the Burbles, though. We'll be able to caliber them into... I don't think we get Gravitum this turn. I think Aphelios has already gone off in that regard. So going to be able to get Gravitum at the start of the next turn, though. And things just continuing to pour downhill for poor Chad.
Yeah, and I think that was the second Twisted Fate, right? So now we only have one more Twisted Fate left in the deck at this point, which means Chad running out of options. And that is not good, especially when right now we're really, we're by no means in the lead in this matchup. We're going to start losing units too. Yep, here we go, a Calibrum, and it's just really not looking good, especially with that Temple on the field there. Man, Veil Temple, I really am loving this card. I'm so happy they made a card like this. I'm curious to see what kind of combo decks come up in the future with it too.
Oh man, still no Mind Meld for Chad, and constantly losing more and more elusives every turn that he has to try and stall while looking for this, and eventually it's going to catch up to him where Realkey's going to be able to find enough tools between Gravitum, Comet, maybe an Equinox out of a Zoe that even the Mind Meld's not going to be enough.
Yeah.
And, doesn't even have the opportunity to try and, hold these units back because they're fleeting. You have to run them out and give Realkey the opportunity to remove them again, unless you want to shuffle it back with the pick a card, which, honestly, I do not think is the worst idea in the world.
All right, Golden Sister, Meteor Shower, and another Falling Comet. All right, there we go. I would have been a little concerned if we picked another Falling Comet. Because I really would have been questioning what the heck Realkey's trying to do here. But Meteor Shower, super, super impactful. We'll be able to take down either 2 elusives or the Ballistic Bot and one of these Burblefish here. So probably one of the better pickups that we could have grabbed from Solari Priestess.
Yeah, I think this is just straight away going to be able to take out the 2 Burblefish. But in that case, we don't have anything to stop the Fizz from getting a Chum the Waters. Not that it really matters. Even this Aphelios is going to be outside of Chum range on the next turn when we get another Veiled Temple proc.
All right, here we go. Opting to take out the 2 elusives, which, I mean, I like. I mean, that's really the only things threatening you at this point. Obviously, the Fizz as well, but Nothing really that we can do about the Fizz at this point in time. Falling Comet, absolutely not a good option versus Fizz. But I think we are at the point where, I mean, Realkey might just be able to take away the game, just start attacking. And the other thing to take into consideration, too, is we do have a Severum. And this is where, you know, you see some people mentioning how good Aphelios is. It's one of the reasons is it has kind of this infinite lifesteal, being able to play Severum every couple of turns. And being at 13, this was probably the closest that Chad might get to actually killing Realkey here after this Severum eventually gets played for an attack. Yep, here we go. And this is what I was saying before, just how awesome this spell can be, getting you just absolutely any card that you need for any situation. Super, super crucial here. I mean, this not only does it remove a unit, but it prevents this final push that we're seeing from Chad actually closing out the game, getting rid of one of those elusive units. So that's very, very impactful right there.
I think Chad's best chances at winning might have included pick-a-carding that Burblefish back into the deck and trying to find a really big, Burblefish Mind Meld turn a little bit later on and just not stutter-stepping these Burblefishes like he has been, because Aphelios just, as we see, absolutely no problem just picking these off one after the other, even has the Severum to go back to 20 next turn, and then turn around and Gravitum something coming out of Chad, if we try to get a pre-board set up into the Mind Meld. Things are just a total and utter disaster for Chad now, and Aphelios does so much to stop what this deck wants to do. Oh, actually just going to use the Severum proactively to try and deny the Ye Be Warned.
Wow. All right. And really just not wanting Chad to get any of that additional draw in there. Yeah, and this is going to push 5 damage, though. And again, Chum the Waters. So this Chum the Waters, depending on how these next couple of turns go, might actually be the difference maker as far as damage is concerned. Especially with that Severum being used, it's going to be a little while until we actually make it around the rotation again to get another Severum. And that might be a big deal.
Ooh. We got the Mind Meld, but we got it on the off turn.
And it's fleeting.
Yeah, we can still potentially zap into a stress testing. Yeah, zap stress testing our best bet. Have we used all our stress testings? He plays 3. So I think there's still at least one in there.
Yeah, actually, we talked about this earlier. Chad is playing the 3 stress testing version, right? So, I don't know if we're gonna do. Is that the game plan? Do we just try to dig as far into our deck as humanly possible?
You try to zap into stress, and if it works, then you might actually be able to win this game.
I mean, listen, with 11 cards left, it's not out of the question.
I just don't know if we even have any stress testing left. I don't really remember the way that this game has played out. How many of those have been discarded? It's kind of one of the things that's harder to track from. But we're just gonna play the Mind Meld to dissuade any aggression from Realkey, who we do have low enough that we might just be able to finish off with a big elusive attack on the next turn. But we don't have that many elusives, and we're not pick-a-carding this turn.
Wow, that feels really bad having to spend it on your off turn. I mean, it's the only one, and this is why, I mean, personally, I like running 2 Mind Melds in this deck. I know it kind of clunks things up a little bit. You don't necessarily need it to win the game, but
hold on. I can get behind 2 Mind Meld, but aren't you a 2 stress testing person?
Yeah, typically, yeah. I don't want to play 3.
You can't tell me you're about to run 2 Mind Meld and only 2 stress testing.
Yeah, dude. Yes.
Just make the second Mind Meld a 3rd stress testing, and then you'll be able to draw it when you pick a card 100% of the time.
Yeah?
No problem.
Yeah. It's guaranteed to not be fleeting, too.
Guaranteed. 100% of the time.
Yeah, no. 2 Mind Meld, 2 stress testing, the way to go for me anyways. And I don't know, because I just hate... I guess I've played the deck a fair amount now, and I hate getting to this point where you're basically forced to play it on your off turn. Whereas instead, you could just be okay with it because there's one more left in your deck, and now it just feels like you lose the game because that was the last chance you had to actually win things.
Yeah, it's not often that it does come down to the Mind Meld being the card that you need to find to win the game, but in situations where it's there, I mean, that's why it's in your deck, right? For matchups like this, and unfortunately, just I don't know that Chad necessarily had to fire off the pick a card when he did. I think that it might have just been a missequencing. I don't remember if the pick a card was fleeting. I feel like it wasn't, but ignore everything that I'm saying if it was. But I feel like it's one of those things where you just need to pick a card going into your attack turn, because that's when you're going to set up and get the mind meld, and there are cards that you can't afford to play on the off turn, so that's not when you should be drawing, all this stuff, unless you have like a Twisted Fate on field that you're trying to level. Are you talking?
I am talking now. Yes, good sir.
Okay. I thought I heard you, but like 10 miles away and whispering.
Yeah. I was gonna say Daring Poro coming down now, but not really gonna do a whole lot. And we have Equinox, Trickster, and Messenger coming down too. Looks like we are gonna get the Trickster, which feels really good into this board, especially knowing there's no Mind Meld now. This basically trades with absolutely everything. We also have Star Shaping to avoid any sort of lethal push. So let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's exact lethal. We also have, and I mentioned this earlier, Playful Trickster. Is this the really weird come from behind victory?
You know what, SJW? I don't think it is because of Gravitum.
Okay.
But
okay.
Oh no, that's why we sent the Pool Shark into combat. Yep. So it's close, but I think it might still be too late. I'm not actually sure.
Well, if we Gravitum, even if we Gravitum the 4/4, that's 5.
Yeah.
If we Gravitum the 4/4,
that's still 5.
Wow.
And this is the power of this deck. Actually, no, because we Gravitum should do it because we are no. The Veiled Temple. No, we don't have the priority to get down. I'm like going back and forth. The end of the day, we don't have priority to get down Veiled Temple and play the Elusive. So yeah, like you said, it should be just enough.
Yeah, wait, hold on. If this, wait, no. Now because we'd have to get the Elusive and the Gravitum.
Down, which we don't have the priority sequence. Man, could you imagine if these guns were fast speed?
Can we?
Holy moly!
can we not?
So after a little bit of back and forth, we have come to the conclusion that this will be lethal.
But what? does Chad not go for it? And for some reason, oh man. Wait, does this mean this is no longer lethal?
Is it with Ignition still?
Oh my God, Chad.
I think it's still lethal with Ignition.
No, it's not. Chad just threw.
Because we screwed up.
Chad just threw it because of the Daring Poro.
Well, hold on. Did Chad throw it? Because Chad's gonna get another Ignition.
Wait, no. There's a Yeeby Warren. He's using the Yeeby Warren.
I hate you so much. I hate you so much. But at the end of the day, Chad did not throw and will be picking up the victory here.
Chad came dangerously close to throwing that game, okay?
And yeah, it was a little sketchy. It was a little sketchy. I'm not gonna lie. I was on the edge of my seat. You were sitting here back and forth with me here. But at the end of it, I mean, this is the power of his Twisted Fate, right? Like, this is one of the reasons that we say that this deck is so good. Chad, it looked like all hope was lost. We lost the Mind Meld. And, as you had mentioned, as you were actually very critical of earlier, Realkey died with that Falling Comet in hand.
Yeah, I don't understand what that was ever going to get. Because even if you grabbed that thinking, okay, we're going to get some sweet, sweet TF removal here. Great. Well, A, it doesn't feel like the greatest removal. Because honestly, why not take... Well, Meteor Shower I don't think was offered in that batch that he got. But B, like, there's nothing else that you're using it on. And we took care of 2 Twisted Fates without using it. Just seems so weird. Wow. All right. Pretty hype first game there. Chad taking it away by the skin of his chinny chin chin. And now we get to see the one and only Grand Plaza deck try to take home a second game here.
I don't call it that.
What, the Grand Plaza? It's
you need to clarify.
It's a Plaza Guardian deck, okay? Why? Because there's 3 Plaza Guardians in it.
You can't call this the Grand Plaza when there's a card.
My deck nomenclature is very simple, okay? You pick the best card and you call it, that's the deck name, all right? That's it.
That'd help if the card Grand Plaza was in.
Oh, so I know, I said Grand Plaza first, sorry. Plaza
Oh
Guardian,
man.
Plaza Guardian. Same thing, right?
After the lethal roller coaster that we just went through, you can't be throwing Plaza Guardians into Grand Plazas at me and getting me all mixed around.
Wait. Hold on. In my defense, isn't Plaza Guardian in the picture? Or is Plaza Guardian in Grand Plaza in his picture?
It would be wild if he is, since he's from Piltover and Zon, and Grand Plaza's in Demacia.
It's a Plaza Guardian, and it's great. I'm just saying.
There's more than one plaza.
How do you... All right, what's the name of it?
It's just... plazas don't have names.
What? The Grand Plaza has a name?
It doesn't. Its name is not
the Grand Plaza.
How pretentious would you sound? You're in Demacia, you see a fine little young lady upon the street, and you say, hey, how would you like to shimmy on down to me to the Grand Plaza? That's not a hot spot. That's not date night. It's just a plaza. It's not named.
Oh, my God. All right, well, whatever it is, it's Plaza something. It's in the deck. It's a 6/6 with quick attack, and damn, I can't wait to hopefully see this bad boy take home a victory here. Oh, man. All right, so Zoe also going to hit the field and, looking to hopefully get some advantage here, too. Nothing that Realkey can do about it if we do go in for the open attack. If we don't, Rookie could go ahead and get down this Zap Sprayfin, which does seem like a really good way to prevent the attack. So, yeah, we are going to go in with the Zoe. Going to get this a free super cool star chart, and that's going to feel real good.
And if Chad's lucky, might be able to pull an Equinox and, turn off that box to push challenger, or just straight up kill the Aphelios. Is this Progress Day main decked? It is. There's two of them. I'm sitting here, it's so hard looking at this hand and being like, this is Fizz Twisted Fate, right? It's like, no, there's a Progress Day in hand. This is an Aphelios, or a Zoe Aphelios. Is this Zoe Aphelios? Yeah, it is, right? Okay. There's too many similar but different decks.
Well, Crescendum going to come down now. Going to get those sweet 3-4. Basically, the 2-cost Badger Bear with Challenger. Going to hit the field. And in response, going to get the super cool star chart.
We get the Crescent Strike if we want to protect the Zoe. This would put her 4 out of 10, nearly halfway leveled. And Boxtopus is really the only way for Realkey to deal with champions outside of invoking an answer. But we are going to be able to kill the Ballistic Bot because Aphelios is going to come down. That's going to trigger Veiled Temple, give us back the mana, and Calibrum going to be able to take out the bot.
Wow, I got to say, that just shows you how good Boxtopus is, because I don't think it's very rare.
Oh, or we just go for Crescendum too.
It's very rare that I see a Crescent Strike used on one unit. And actually going to get punished for it too, because now we still have another one to go in. So no matter what, we were losing this Zoe. All right, Ignition next up, too. So, I mean, honestly, Chad, not in a bad spot. We have these 2 Rummages, and we do have the Ignitions getting generated. So, we'll have some fodder for those. Unfortunately, we might need to actually discard something else. We'll see what's off the top here. Iterative Improvement. So, I don't know. I don't really know if you want to go for the Rummages yet. Ignition into Aphelios also seems kind of good. And even Iterative Improvement onto the Ballistic Bot to potentially get 2 Ignitions going into next turn to use those Rummages, that feels really good too.
I mean, we could see an iterative down onto one of the units of Realkey. Like, we could try and take a Boxtopus and go for a kill onto this Aphelios. We could... I mean, the Boxtopus line is really risky because of Veiled Temple giving back mana. Probably, I think it was a Crescendum phased into a Calibrum would make the most sense to me. Just going to go back and confirm, getting the Calibrum. So your Boxtopus play is pretty unlikely to work out, but SJW, I think that these Plaza Guardians are already down to like 4 mana.
Yeah, when they come out, it's going to be a problem for Realkey. And honestly, the consideration, I think, though, with this Mind Meld is, do we ever keep the Mind Meld for when I mean, unless we have Lethal, obviously, with a Mind Meld, that makes sense. But do we ever keep the Mind Meld as like a defensive play to the Plaza Guardians?
It depends on how much of a wide board Realkey can maintain, which I think he's going to be okay to do. And actually getting a really good trade here, getting the Pale Cascade for the Calibrum, now going to be able to fire off their own Calibrum and guaranteed kill that Ballistic Bot. Things looking really rough for Chad here, and this is why, you know, you generally bring Bilgewater alongside this Aphelios Zoe combo rather than Piltover and Zon, at least nowadays. You know, players really going for that box to push, sticking on the Burblefish. But Chad just saying, hey, you know, of the two pieces of the Mind Meld deck, I prefer the iterative improvement side of things over the Burblefish side of things.
Yeah, and now looking to push a ton of damage for Realkey. 13 to be exact, going to Nexus here. And yeah, it's going to drop Chad pretty low. And not anything in hand that we can even do about it, right? I mean, we're going to lose the Aphelios. We don't have those ballistic bots like I was talking about before. You know, we lost the original one that we had. We can't iterative improvement it. We do now have a Plaza Guardian into iterative improvement. I imagine we're going to want to just play the progress day this turn now that we've taken all that damage.
Maybe, probably.
I mean, I feel like that's because then it reduces the Plaza Guardian cost for next turn too. So
yeah, I think that your next turn is trying to set up a bunch of Plaza Guardian stuff, but instead we're going to go for the Wiggly Burblefish and see what we can get out of this. And the answer is Rummage number 3, which is probably not what Chad was looking for.
Well, I can almost guarantee we're going to be rummaging the rummages. That's about all you can do at this point. And I'm actually kind of surprised to see that iterative improvement played on the Burblefish and not on the Plaza Guardian.
As am I, but maybe just deciding that, hey, we need an elusive blocker. You know, Realkey's in a position where he can just take a couple of hits from Plaza Guardians and then kill us on the crackback.
So this picture for Plaza Guardian, because let's be honest, we don't care about the game. We care about Plaza Guardian, all right? This picture.
Sure.
Is this PNZ? Or is this, like, I imagine it's at Piltover or Zon, but it's a Plaza.
Oh, it's definitely in Piltover.
I mean, I guess is that a tire?
A high society.
Is that is that a tire indicative of Piltover? Is that how that goes?
Extremely. That's the snobby rich people.
Okay, all right. Maybe there is a different Plaza. All right, maybe.
Did you think Runeterra had one Plaza?
Yeah, and it's the Grand Plaza. All right. Jeez, is it Plaza or Plaza?
I think I think I actually switched between them.
Too.
It's one of those words where I just kind of, you know, however the mood strikes me.
If I'm feeling spicy and I want to sound smart, it's Plaza. Gravitum gonna come down to deal with one of these Plaza Guardians. And
it's pronounced Plaza. Excuse you.
It's pronounced, according to chat, Plaza. so curveball. All right.
It's actually pronounced pizzeria.
Wow. All right, I wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah, that's just a surrender out of chat, and that makes sense. You know, Top Cut is untimed, but some players value their time on this earth and understand that, you know, it's going to be. I mean, you and I were talking. You always talk about like the micro efficiencies of I saved 10 seconds here, and by the time I'm 80, I've gotten you know, a month back of my life, but still can't remember to hit the stay signed in button.
I knew you were going to say that. Honestly, it goes against everything I believe in to not hit that button, so I really need to do that.
The worst part is, I think I've actually reminded you over 10 times.
I think I'm actually so fast at typing that I actually don't even see it as a loss of time, but it technically is.
It's actually faster to log in.
Yeah, I have lightning speed typing. All right, game 3, ladies and gentlemen. Top 8, Realkey and Chad. We're going to get the Plaza deck once again up against, this time, some sweet Frostbite. Frostbite Teemo, you know, whatever it is you want to call it. It's got a bunch of different names. I prefer Teemo, personally. That's just me. We'll see which deck is able to...
Ooh, is that post-mulligan?
Oh, that's post-mulligan. Yeah, you nailed that, Boulevard. That is, in fact, post-mulligan. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why this card doesn't see play. Yeah. That feels I mean,
bad. Burblefish wouldn't be much better here, right? It's just a card that you're kind of sitting on until you can get your combo going.
Well...
Oh, Zoe might just be what it takes to fix this hand.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. But the problem is there's a lot of... it's a lot of cards in the hand of Realkey that basically just say no to Zoe. They don't necessarily kill her, but they say no. So...
Yeah.
This is going to be rough.
And unfortunately, unlike Realkey, you know, Chad not going to have the Boxtopus out of deck plan to try and take a kill onto this Ezreal. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Frostbite come out here, just a Brittle Steel or something, because what you are worried about dying to is eventual like Plaza Guardians or things of that nature. I think that denying the super cool star chart does have merit
Wow, yeah.
because when we talk about all these backline followers, that there's a lot of backline champions, but this is really the backline follower deck, and that means Equinox is really good against you.
Yeah, and I am super surprised we didn't see that negated. I mean, yeah, it does feel bad losing a Frostbite because either way, you're falling behind in card advantage, right? Like you're either losing the Frostbite or your opponent gains the super cool star chart. I think knowing that your opponent is playing something like Plaza Guardian, I think it makes more sense to not allow that Nexus Strike to come through. But I mean, hey, we got the Daring Poros now. We got the Poro Cannon as a spell played. They're only 9 mana now, so we're one step closer towards actually using those Plaza Guardians.
Yeah, and we actually discarded the super cool star chart so that we could get the Calibrum rolling earlier. Yep. And that does mean that Gravitum is also going to be available to stun out Ezreal and stop it from blocking Zoe or attacking and getting the Mystic Shot to kill the Zoe.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. This hand is doing a great job of kind of getting itself out of a really bad spot. This Rummage could even rummage away the 2 Daring Poros, which doesn't feel terrible when everything is said and done, especially because that Poro Cannon was used with the super cool star chart, which was just additional advantage generated from Zoe. So feels really good. A Flight is definitely an interesting pickup as well. All right, so let's see if we get the Ezreal to come down here or not. I mean, I don't. I guess the other consideration is Hexcore Foundry. Do we ever actually play that on the side of Realkey?
I don't think so. Not against an iterative improvement combo deck, right?
I mean, I think you're right. Actually, we didn't even get Graviton.
I mean, you probably can throw it down eventually. I think that Realkey might actually need to throw it down sooner rather than later because this hand is just not doing it. You don't have the Puffcap Peddler to get all of that shroom generation going on, and eventually you are going to run out of Frostbites, and then you just have no cards. You're going to be forced to play the Foundry. I guess it's a matter of, do you wait until the last possible second to throw it down, or are we just throwing it down at the first opportunity to try and get ourselves more cards and say that, with all the Frostbites, we can withstand Chad's strategy and start to get those puff caps into the deck in a timely fashion? Gotta say, it's not looking phenomenal for Realkey here.
No, it's not. I am kind of surprised, though. So Chad opting to do Mystic Shot and trade with the... Yeah. I mean, I guess that still would have saved Ezreal regardless. But now you lose both units. I'm actually surprised we didn't see Severum get played on something like the Flight, which then would have allowed it to block and trade with the Ezreal, but then also survive that interaction. And you get the lifesteal from it, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it'll work out in the long run. Who knows? But for now, anyways, that does mean more spells have been played. So Plaza Guardian, real quickly, actually, by turn 5 now, we're already getting it down to be a pretty cheap unit. And looking at the hand of Realkey, I mean, yeah, sure, we get the Flash Freeze to deal with it, but how does this Frostbite Foundry deck deal with Plaza Guardians? I don't think it does, right?
No, and this isn't the Sejuani version, so you're not going to have the opportunity, right? Oh no, is this the 1 Sejuani or 2 Sejuani? 1 Sejuani. 1 Sejuani in the deck. So Realkey does still have that, sort of quote-unquote perma-frostbite line available, but it's going to be a lot harder to find.
All right, Ignition. Gonna get played.
Zoe's at 8 out of 10 very, very quietly here.
Yeah.
Right on the cusp of leveling.
Nobody paying attention to Zoe. But, I mean, we do have a Mystic Shot, which looks like it is going to take out the Zoe this turn. So, I think that'll be okay. But that's just another resource, honestly. I don't think that's that bad for Chad.
No, and that's I mean, Chad almost leveled Zoe here. Oh, we're going to take out the Aphelios. Just not even caring about the Zoe level, which is terrifying because this is a deck that has the capability to give Plaza Guardian elusive.
That's
and we know that there is a Flight, or no, the Flight died blocking or attacking.
We can even
so there's no Flight in the top 3 is what I'm trying to get at here.
We can stun the Ezreal here too to guarantee this attack gets through. I mean, there could be a Teemo that comes down to prevent that, so I don't know how much Chad actually wants to go with that line. We could start with an Ignition.
Gravitum is a card that hasn't been played yet, which allows you to Pale Cascade in response to anything to guarantee to level the Zoe. And then, we talk about, unfortunately for Chad, though, Sejuani gonna gonna be able to stop the Zoe regardless. But actually, I think that Sejuani might be a losing line just because of
Graviton.
the Pale Cascade sending the Zoe in leveled and or leveling it in response to the attack after it's been frostbitten. Realkey might actually have to use multiple frostbite effects to stop this Zoe this turn because we talk a lot about her passive ability on the level up, but sometimes the thing that ends the game is just generating Behold the Infinite instead of super cool star chart.
Yeah, and nobody ever thinks about her level 2 ability beyond, granting all the keywords. But all right, yeah, Sejuani gonna come down, and this is
Oh, it's Realkey's attack turn.
yeah, it's yeah. I noticed that after I made the Zoe comment. But Gravitum, yeah, almost definitely gonna come down onto this Sejuani here, and now Pale Cascade does save the Zoe from getting pulled from the Ezreal at least. If it gets pulled from the Ballistic bot, it's still gonna die.
At least trades.
Yeah, but it still levels. So
yeah.
Wow, this is gonna feel good.
And we could even, if we really want to, we can get excited to protect the Zoe.
That's a good point. I mean, how much do we care about the Nexus Strike?
That's kind of the question, right? I mean, like, Behold the Infinite is a phenomenal stalemate breaker, especially when you have leveled Zoe. How many times have we seen Golden Sisters come down immediately after a leveled Zoe and essentially end the game on their own? But even more than that, you have a lot more removal options available to you in Behold the Infinite, and this is the only Sejuani out of Realkey. If you can get this off the board, your Plaza Guardians are good to go.
All right, we are going to go the Pale Cascade route, so let's see what we draw. We do still have 3 mana left if we want to play the Get Excited, and we even have the discard fodder in the Ignition. Not to mention that's going to reduce our Plaza Guardians down. All right, nope, we're not going to save it. All right.
I think that's totally fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think one way or the other, I think was an okay decision. You still get Zoe's effect regardless. So once units start coming down, these Plaza Guardians too, they're going to give everything quick attack. Now, I don't think that's going to be a huge advantage here, especially with the Sejuani being on the board at 7 health right now. The other thing to take into consideration, though, is that Sejuani is leveled. And if the Plaza Guardians come down, this is where Sejuani actually comes in real handy, being able to proc every turn, theoretically, Frostbite onto these Plaza Guardians. And there's a Mystic Shot off the top that could do just that.
Yeah, that is a really nice pickup for Realkey. It means that if the Plaza Guardian Onslaught does come down this turn, we don't have to commit these useless Frostbites. I don't think Brittle Steel really gets value from here on out.
Yeah, no, Brittle Steel is, you could say a Ballistic bot, I guess, right? But Afelio is a pretty good option to come down here, too. It's going to get you another gun, which, if we wanted, we could stun out the Sejuani with Gravitum, and then that's also going to put our Plaza Guardians as free. So that'll be nice.
And something I just want to mention here, Chad still at 0 mushrooms in deck.
Yeah, that's insane.
So anytime that we want a Frostbite with Sejuani, it's going to have to be from a card of our own, be it the Mystic Shot, or on the next turn we could potentially attack with Ezreal first so that the Frostbite happens before Sejuani hits. But Chad does have the removal for this Ezreal, so if that's a line that Realkey's going for, it could get a punish. Ooh. So yeah, now we're going to throw down the Foundry. Now that we have this leveled Sejuani, we've got these useless Frostbites. We're effectively looking at a 2-card hand almost out of Realkey here.
Now, the only good thing for Realkey is that we did top deck this Mystic Shot. So I imagine Chad is going to, in fact, go for, this wide board of Plaza Guardians, and this Mystic Shot's going to completely shut that down.
But that's at least one more Mystic Shot out of your opponent's deck. You can try to line up some blocks on the next turn when, as we mentioned, kill this Ezreal in response. But Ezreal, we might just fire off the Brittle Steels to try and rapid fire level the Ezreal so that we can get... we talk about the Ezreal Swain combo, right? Where, you play a burst spell, Ezreal hits the Nexus, Swain stuns a backline unit. Ezreal Sejuani is the same thing.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, and it's, again, this is one of the reasons why this was kind of my favorite way to play this deck, but it just always felt like, in this case, Realkey actually was able to level the Sejuani pretty early, which is, I think, why we're even still in this game. But generally speaking, Sejuani actually isn't leveled this early, which is surprising to me in and of itself, too, because there isn't any shrooms in the deck, like you mentioned, Boulevard, so it's even more surprising that the Sejuani even made it to level 2. So, oh, man, even committing the... man, that feels bad.
he's gonna get the free gun at start of round because
Yeah.
Aphelios is leveled, but this just has to be the Mystic Shot, and I don't think Chad's gonna be too upset about that. Yeah, you don't get lethal. Your opponent did top deck one of the few spells that is gonna be able to sort of keep them alive and bail them out of the situation, but we are still 3 away from leveling the Ezreal, and your opponent has put a Hexcore Foundry on the field for you to just continue to draw through your own deck, and I don't know, maybe you can try and hope to find some Sejuani removal, but it's looking rough. And I don't think this is a deck that plays Hush. Yeah, there's no Hushes in this deck for Chad.
Yeah, and that stress testing, for those who don't know, when it is discarded at the end of the turn, even if it is from a, just end of turn for it being fleeting, it is still going to draw you that one fleeting. So we see that second get excited in hand there. And a suit up off the top, too. I mean, it's not really going to do much for the cards on field, unfortunately. But, I mean, looking like we can actually use pretty much all the cards in our hand this turn. Just a lot of options right now for the Chad with what we want to do. Do we just straight up get excited Ezreal because that plays around Troll Chant?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got the 2 Ignitions. What are you really worried about here?
Yep. Yeah, and another Mystic Shot, though, off the top for Realkey. So, once again, having... Oh, sorry, that was an Ezreal. Okay, never mind. I was going to say we have the defense again next turn, but now we don't. We're basically just forced to use the Flash Freeze and Brittle Steel, which, honestly, you alluded to this earlier, Boulevard. You might as well just have a Chumple up and an Ezreal in hand at this point.
It's I think it's gonna come down to whether or not Chad top decks a Mushroom on this next turn. There is still an opportunity for Realkey to draw some other kind of damage, and there are still other Frostbite effects in the deck, but a Shroom off the top would be a massive tempo swing for Realkey and validating yet another turn of Chad's. And I don't think this is how Chad really expected this matchup to go. There's only one Sejuani in the list. It would have been an absolute disaster if you were able to see it, and Realkey finds it.
Yeah, and this is... Oh, man. This is the power of Sejuani when it actually works in this deck. At this point, I mean, Chad still is not doing anything to remove the Sejuani. We 100% need to remove the Sejuani. If we don't, we lose the game.
Yeah. But if Realkey doesn't draw, just draws a little bit of air or something along those lines, that I don't know, just name 2 units. And if we don't draw a Shroom, then Realkey either has to die or lose the Sejuani.
You really think we're not going to draw a Shroom?
There's only 10 in the deck, but
yeah, we're drawing 2, and we're drawing 2 cards a turn is the other problem too. So
yeah,
I think drawing the 2 cards almost
we were still at about a 50% chance for the Shroom.
Man, this feels so bad. Now suit up. We have 2 suit ups in hand that actually get past that, and that means that Sejuani, because its effect can only happen once. Not to mention we have this 3rd Plaza Guardian.
Oh, the Augment.
Augment. Oh, from the Ballistic Bot. Wow.
This is a little scary.
This is an interesting field to say the least, Boulevard.
I don't think it's gonna be enough for lethal, but I mean there are a lot of created cards that Chad can start. Oh no. Now I wanted to see Gravitum as the 2nd card just so that we could get another gun.
I think we still.
But,
oh no, because it only happens once. Wait, what? That's.
Yeah, we actually iteratived into the Plaza Guardian first. So missing our opportunity for the gun is, I think, relatively big here because that is another created card.
Yeah.
That's going to give you the opportunity to augment your board again. But I mean, there's still an insane amount of created cards in hand available between the Gift Beyond, that Gravitum, the Ignition.
Yeah, there's 3 created cards. So all of these go up to 5 attack. That is, I think that might... Well, no, we have a lot of Frostbite in hand still, right? And both the Ballistic Bots can get Brittle Steeled. The 7/7 Plaza Guardian can actually get Flash Frozen. And... Okay, but then we also have the suit-ups after they get frozen. So I think we might still take this after we play out all the created cards. 2, 3. That's going to leave us with 5 mana, though. We're actually 1 short of playing both suit up. So I don't know if only 4 damage is going to be enough after that. This is going to be close. It's going to come down to math, and we all know that I don't like doing math. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we can still stun the Sejuani. This can we can Gifts Beyond into Calibrum to kill the Puffcap Peddler. Things looking I don't know if it's enough. It's looking pretty dicey here for Realkey, actually, and I don't think that Realkey's in a position where they're going to be able to win on the next turn. And as long as Aphelios is going to be able to stick around, as well as the double ballistic bot, Chad can just try this again 2 turns from now.
Yep. Yeah, and actually not even... So we're actually... All right, I like this. I think this is playing specifically around Frostbite, and that means that no matter what, if... Oh, no. Actually, if we go this route and we block with the Ezreal, that's still game. That's still game, right? I think. No, we have 3. I think we're off by 4 damage.
Does it...
Wait.
Does it matter
5,
is the question.
6. I mean, we're going to get... I don't think so, because we're going to get Ignitions and we have the Get Excited in hand, right? So I think no matter what, we have damage over the next 2 turns. I just don't think we have lethal this turn with all the free... I can't even tell what everything's attack is, right? There's so many, like, added status effects that it's kind of hard to figure it out. It looks like 4, 8... There's 12 damage being pushed. Okay, that's 8 damage being pushed. And if we don't assign a blocker, which I imagine Realkey isn't going to block with Ezreal, because you kind of... At this point, you have to keep your Ezreal if you're even going to try to win.
Yeah, but if you don't block with Ezreal, you die here to the suit up and Get Excited.
Yep. Or just double suit up. We have 2 suit ups. We just suit up Aphelios, we suit up a ballistic bot, and wham, bam, shazam.
And, yep.
We winning.
We pass it back to Chad, and that means the double suit up. I mean, the games that Chad won here in the top 8 match versus Realkey felt like some of the stranger wins that we've seen in Legends of Runeterra, but he finds a way, and once again, the unnamed band of 3 Plaza Guardians is going to be able to stomp through and take Realkey of Team Sultans out of the top 8. Chad Stride going to be moving on to the semifinals.
And I got to say, Boulevard, we've seen Chad a couple times today. Saw him earlier in Swiss, and not for nothing, but we're generally seeing 3 Plaza Guardians on the field when he's winning games. I'm just throwing that out there. All right, Chad, taking it away there. And honestly, you know, from day 1 as well, we saw Chad take home a lot of games with Plaza Guardian. So very, very exciting stuff seeing this card get played. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. As always, do not forget to subscribe and like the video if you guys enjoyed this tournament footage. And as always, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you. And peace out.